Hey friends, welcome back to Surviving Toxic Relationships with Dina and Lizzie, the Matadoras. We thought we'd jump on another behind the mic because life has been incredibly busy, exciting, and honestly a little crazy. We wanted to catch you all up on what's been going on and share what's coming next. I think we have a lot of things on our horizon, Dina. I know you and I have kind of been a little blurred since we got back from the writers' conference. It's kind of been nonstop, and you had your house full. But let's go ahead and go back to the conference. I'll let you share the wonderful things that happened there and our book and what we did at this point.
Yeah, you know what? I know we've said this before on some of the other things that we've talked about, but that conference is just life-changing. And if you ever are looking to write a book or be a speaker or anything like that, and you're looking for not only classes or courses or professionals to be in community with, but you're also looking for a lot of knowledge, please check out a book writers conference or a speakers conference, because it's just incredible the amount of knowledge that you get, and rubbing elbows with people that have been in the space forever. It's just invaluable. It's worth every penny. But yeah, we went this year as our second year going. And as most of you have heard, we won second place in the Selah Awards, which is a wonderful, prestigious award. We're so humbled by that. And that was for our podcast. So going up in front of the audience and accepting that award and getting to be part of that community and getting to see all the other amazing award winners and authors and speakers and everything else in every category, it was incredible. But we also got to personally connect at breakfast in the cafeteria, at lunch, at dinner, sitting with these wonderful ladies. And you tend to just sit with a different group of ladies or gentlemen every single meal, and you get to connect and ask what you're doing, what you're writing, what your life is about. And we got to share our story, and we got to share what we've been doing and why we're there. And it's just mind-boggling to think of how many women in the church especially are dealing with these circumstances. So we got the opportunity to pray for some women that were in the trenches and that were really struggling and just felt like they didn't have anybody they could talk to that would understand, and kind of relieve some of that pressure and that shame. And what else, Lizzie? What did you take away as well?
Well, I think I laughed with Dina because before we left, Dina is probably more of the marketing. She's the one that has the voice that gets us out there. I do a lot of the behind the scenes because that's what I enjoy and that's what she enjoys. And we're using the talents that God gave us. So we would go into a room and I'd be ready just to kind of hang out and just enjoy the vibe. And Dina's up talking to everybody, every soul that's there. So I love it. It's great. Dina's really presenting us well.
Gabbing with everybody.
And then Dina will run out of cards, business cards. I'll be like, here, Dina, get right back to it. Come on. But like Dina said, I think we both have been awed over the warmth, the welcoming of our topic in a Christian community, because this isn't an easy topic in our community, which we've shared before. And when we went this time, I think my whole attitude was, I just want to learn. I don't need to talk to publishers. I don't need to talk to anybody. And Dina's like, well, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, you go for it. You can represent us, because that exhausts me. Well, guess what? We get there and you learn that God has a different direction. So there were some people I wanted to talk to. There was both people that both Dina and I wanted to talk to. So we were able to make reservations with different people and sit down and just talk and show our book. And I tell you what, it was really eye-opening having a book. And I don't know, I thought I would be more humbled, but we were pretty much told this book cover is going to hurt your sales. So in the meantime, I pulled our book off of Amazon. And so in that midst of everything, Dina and I have a publisher that's interested, got to send the manuscript in. We also have other people lined up if we decide to keep self-publishing, because we use the Matadoras LLC for our publishing name. We have all the ISBN we need right now. We've done so much research to get where we were. So it's like, do we want to let go of our control in this situation? Because once you give it to a publisher, it's kind of their rights as well. Even though it's our book, it's really their publishing. They can kind of do some things that we would lose our rights to take care of. But all great people, because anybody that's at this particular conference, they have all been extremely vetted by the director, because she doesn't want anybody in that space, especially in a faith-based, that is a con artist, because this is a very high industry of people that say they can do things and they really can't. And then you end up spending thousands of dollars on something you get that you could have done 20 times better for maybe a fraction of the cost. So we have the publisher on one hand, or do we stay self-published? But if we stay self-published, we found someone that we can hire to do our book covers. We found somebody that's going to help us with the space of the marketing. So we would still outsource things, but it would also put us in a different level of everything. So we're now at a point where we're really praying about what God wants. If y'all know us, Dina and I work really well, because I'm usually the type of person that sounds really good. That sounds great. And Dina can be, well, let's sit back and talk about it. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. But that's what makes us, that's what I think sharpens us, right, Dina? I think it really sharpens our skill sets and our just what we see and who we are. But
yeah, sometimes it's a challenge to work together with somebody else so closely. Even if you're working with your actual flesh and blood sister, you can imagine like you're making very large decisions with this person, and you both come from a different life. And well, if you're sisters, you don't, but you still have different personalities and different opinions and different strengths and visions on things. So yeah, so it's been a really good sharpening situation for both of us to sit down and peacefully disagree and say why. And so it's been good. But yeah, that's exactly where we're at. I loved that we got that 15 minutes with a publisher or with an author, or there was just some incredible talent, and you get 2 15-minute sessions included with your fee to the conference. So yeah, that's where we're at. We have 2 books. We have a book for mothers that are helping their daughters to recognize red flags, and not just in relationships romantically, but friends, maybe adults that are in charge of them at any capacity. And then we have another book for women that are in the situation. And it literally goes chapter by chapter: gaslighting, trauma bonding, you name it. Almost anything you can think about that's in the narcissistic world is going to be in this book, chapter by chapter. So both of these books, like Lizzie said, were really accepted and sought out by one of the publishers there that we really respected, because she herself was the victim of a toxic relationship, a spiritually abusive relationship. And so we knew that she has that background and she understands, and she can look at a book and vet it. Now, if we publish, this is a hybrid situation, so we would have to come up with a very large amount of money probably. So that's where we're like, let's think about that first.
Just gonna say, and on the side, before the conference and after the conference, we spent so much time with our sweet friend Peggy. Peggy, we love you. We had so much fun, and yeah, can't wait till next year. And then we transitioned back home, and we had barely a week, and then Dina was just MIA. She had about 1,000 people at her house. She had about 2,000 grandkids.
Well, I mean, I have
chaos.
12 grandchildren, so you can only imagine when you decide for your husband's birthday to get all 12 grandchildren together for the first time ever, because a lot of them are little and have never met each other. And so you get them all together, but all the ones that are out of state are staying in your home. So I think we had like 22 or 23 people in our home for right around a week. And it was the most incredibly chaotic, wonderful, messy, disastrous. That scene in Home Alone.
The first one, yeah, where everybody comes and the house is packed.
Everybody's in the house, and the pizza guy's at the front door, and he's like, is anybody home? And there's people running everywhere, and there's kids everywhere, and there's absolute disastrous chaos and messes. Yeah, that's exactly how it was. It was hilarious. We were laughing about that the whole time.
Well, and it was kind of funny because Dina's daughter came for the first child flew in, what was it, like June 6th? So the first family came on June 6th. Everybody didn't leave until the 21st. Okay, that sounds more reasonable.
Yeah, it was 2 solid weeks, yeah.
Yeah, 2 solid weeks. So then we have maybe 5 days before I head out this weekend. I'm going to Montana to be with my friends or my family and hang out there and have some vacation time before I return back on July 7th. So Dina and I have had a lot of just in and out. And we've kind of got a system that when that happens, One of us just kind of maintains the ship while the other's away, but neither one of us expect it to be in full throttle mode. And also, in about a few days, I'm getting my last check. So as of the last behind the mic, I had 5 checks. Right now I have 4 checks. And after next Monday on the 29th, I'll only have 3 checks left before I leave my job. And Dina asks, so how are you feeling? She'll text me every now and then. I'm like, I am absolutely petrified. Absolutely petrified. But there's no doubt in my mind that I'm doing the right thing. And I know that God will provide. Is this how I would have liked to do this? Absolutely not. But I can't keep pouring in if I don't have time because I'm pouring into a full-time job. We realize that when we talk behind the mic in these situations, it's all virtual. So it's all audible, it's all virtual, it's all video. So none of it is in a room full of other people. And just like last year when we went to the writers conference, when we were like, is this really what we want to do? Is this where God wants us? And then we were so impacted by the amount of support, and people are really excited at what we're doing, and people saying, please don't quit. We need you. We need you in the Christian faith. It's a need. And then you go a year, and Dina and I would like to do a lot more of these types of things. But first of all, it's money, it's time. It's just right now in the season of our life, it's not as feasible as we want it to be. So it was a full year before we were able to return back to a group of other people that were of the faith. And I didn't expect much different. I thought, we'll see some of the same people. I know we'll meet new people. Again, it was that same just sense of overwhelming, a flood of just beautiful souls that have been in the fire, that have been out of the fire and healing, and people that have been able to move on it and be past the reinvention stage. So that's part of where I think Dina and I keep getting that huge factor of affirmation and just the beautiful people we've met along the way. So I know I need to quit. I know I need to quit, and I know I'll have to work part-time somehow, some way, hopefully virtual. I am still waiting to get my trailer because I plan on living in a little trailer, and keep plugging away.
And she's got 3 months until she's leaving this job forever and starting a whole new reinvention herself. And if that includes a little travel trailer, that will be your first home you've ever owned. That would be adorable. But yes. I know all the pieces have to fall into place, but it's kind of crazy. Like, I know I'm not the only one that's fascinated with this faith walk that she's doing, because watching this happen in real time, where it's like, okay, you have 3 months left and you have bills and you got to pay those bills even when you leave. How is that going to work? But it's going to be a fascinating story.
And you're older. Like, you can't make stupid. You have to be very careful with what you're doing. And when we were at the writers conference, someone brought up the story of Abraham and him not knowing. God just said go, and he was like, okay. And someone said that's exactly where you are. And so I have recorded. I'm gonna do a pre-videos of the process of preparing for the next phase of getting onto the road, and about to put that on my other YouTube channel. It'll be more like a midlife wanderlust travel channel. And I think it's important to also just talk about those different things of uncertainty. And it's God says go. If you don't go, what happens? I remember when my dad was actually asked to move to Tulsa, Oklahoma to be a minister in a United Methodist Church. And my dad was like, mm-mm. And for years, my dad said no. And so he went back to another church in Modesto after he left Turlock. And it was the worst decision he made, because that was not where God wanted him. And this pastor, I think, was trying to get a hold of him for 3 or 4 years and asked my dad to come to their church because he met him at a convention and he was so impressed with my dad. And he kept saying no, 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 no. But at the same time, because he wasn't where God wanted him, it was a hot mess. And we're talking about ministry. So finally, my dad says, you know what, we'll check out the church. And so he checked out the church. We went to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and it was a phenomenal experience. And my dad said, yes, we will go. And my dad was used in such a mighty way. I think that was his number one area where, if you look at a season of life in his ministry, that moment in Tulsa, Oklahoma was probably the biggest impact he had on many, many people. And that was where God really filled him, because he was exactly where the Lord wanted him. And that's where I kind of go back to going, I can stay with this big job, but if that's not where God wants me, it's going to fall apart.
Yeah,
It doesn't matter how
absolutely.
much money I bring in.
Well,
Just
and on paper, if you're not a person of faith, on paper, that looks like the dumbest thing you could ever do. Okay, you're losing your benefits in middle age. You're giving up a very nice paying job, career, actually, and all the retirement that goes with it. You're giving that all up to do what? And then, Lizzie has purposely left that blank because she wants to get toward the end of this journey and then just hear and know what the next step is because she hasn't been given that next step yet. So I'm not advocating for everybody to do this, you guys, because there are people out there that will say, God told me to do this or God told me to do that. And then when you look at the outcome, it's a disaster. And you know that people just say that flippantly. I've been in very spiritual churches. I say spiritual, not good spiritual, like hyper spiritual, where God told you everything. And so you just kind of run amok with, well, God said this and God told me to do this. And I even had a friend who said that God told her to, even though her children were watching their dad watch porn, she said that, well, God told me to just keep letting him come over. That when you question, hey, are you really thinking about this? Your children are being very severely impacted. Well, God told me. And so obviously, Lizzie's not taking those things lightly. She's not just throwing that out there. She's served God for a very long time. She feels very strongly that she knows his voice and that this is where she's being led. So if that is the case, then it can really enable you to walk in a bold faith and a faith-filled walk and an exciting walk. And so that's where it is. So she's also being bold enough to share this with people because we've already heard people that have given her a hard time. So this is not an easy thing to share. But you know what? It's okay. If she wants to share that and be bold and give you hope and encouragement for those transitional times in your life when you know something has to change, but you are terrified of leaving the security. And that's really the bottom line here.
yeah.
Leaving your secure place, leaving your place that in 20 years, you will have a nice pension, nice benefits, nice retirement, and you'll just kind of float off into the sunset when you die. Well, not everybody is called to live that life. Not everybody's called to live that. So I think it's a really cool thing and it's very exciting.
And you know me, I don't always just go anything like a bull. When I know I'm meant to do something, I'm headlong. And there've been times I've been like, well, that was stupid. But most of the time when I'm driven, like uncontrollable, and it's like I can't even hold the pen at that point. It's so controlled by, I know the Lord at that. You know me well enough as well to go, she's not just throwing herself in the wind and being irresponsible. So it is bold because it is hard to just say it out loud, especially when I say 3 more texts after this one. But yeah, other than that,
Yeah, but you're going through with it anyway. I mean, that just shows when we feel God calling us into something, it doesn't mean we're not going to be afraid. It doesn't mean that we're not going to be feeling the jitters, but doing it anyway in the fear and walking through it is where she needs to be. And it's a great thing.
It is. It is. And those of you that are praying, just keep praying for me that God just keeps directing my path. So other than that, I'm still living with my son until the end of July and hope to have my trailer by then. And then I still have a couple more months after that. I've already made reservations for Yosemite for the first week in October, which I'm really excited about. So I'm already planning things. I have looked at opportunities in the virtual world, especially as a special education teacher. And there are opportunities for me. It's just what opportunities and what will I need? And I think at this point, it's you just go through a moment in life that you just take that one step of faith at a time, one step of faith at a time. And then each time doors just keep opening, opening, opening. That has been so true with us, Dina, that here we were, we knew not what we were doing, literally.
Yeah.
We've learned along the way. And then there was times that we thought that we were to give up and God opened those doors and redirected our path. And even this year when I was like, I ain't going to go meet with anybody. And then it was just God opened doors of conversations with publisher and with other people. And It's just how he works. And so sometimes you don't hear him unless you're in that still small voice, like that quiet voice. And I'm the type of person, sometimes I just have to sit quiet with my devotions. I mean, obviously devotions are very personal. That's your personal time with the Lord. But sometimes I just sit quiet in my car and I'm just in prayer. But I find those quiet moments are my biggest directions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And for those of you that do pray for us, thank you so much. We not thank you enough. We could not make it without our prayer support and people that just show up week after week and care about what we're doing. We couldn't make it without you. I mean, you are literally the wind beneath our wings. And do please pray, because this is the year that we need to monetize. We've done this now we started this 4 years ago and then hit it really hard about a year after that, really started putting ourselves out there, but it costs money. And so we don't want to put a burden on anybody out there to be asking for money or anything like that. That's not really our way at this point. And so we are just looking for ways to continue to serve in this capacity, but also make money doing it, because you just can't keep spending for years and not make anything. It just can't keep going. But we know God's faithful and we're excited about whatever he's going to do. And we just trust him for that. But this is the year. I feel that very strongly. And Lizzie does too. This is the year that we are you'll find us out there marketing our book like crazy when it has all the finishing touches and new covers, our books. And then we're also probably going to be doing some coaching. And that's something we're both excited about. And speaking, yes. And speaking engagement. Well, so I think one thing's going to feed another thing and it's all going to organically turn out, but we're going to be definitely out there. You'll see our faces a whole lot more and good things are coming, but we'll be letting you know as we go. We'll definitely be keeping all of you that are little intimate partners out there that want to know what we're doing. You're going to know. So,
and again, we would not have won this award or become an award-winning podcast without people like you behind us and encouraging us. And I can't help but say thank you. Sometimes seems so petty, but it's really a heart of gratitude. I know both Dina and I have. And we'll keep you posted along the way, because I think our next Behind the Mic will probably be a couple weeks away, and we'll have some different steps of where we are with the whole book situation and what God has called us to do, whether it's the publisher, Christian publisher, or if it's
self-publishing.
And hiring different people to help us the way we need to have the support. But we're even going to have a new podcast cover coming out soon. We had new professional pictures taken. But the point is, we are at another new turn, and that's what is so exciting. So we look forward to share this with you, and thank you for taking this journey.
Yeah, you guys are the best. You are the very best, the very, very, very best. And doing this the last several years and sacrificing time, and obviously you're doing this without compensation. So it really is a sacrifice when you're spending time away from your family, or in Lizzie's case, this is her second job. This is my first job, her second job. But what fuels you is when you get that little email saying, you have really helped me, or thank you so much. Those are what fuel you. Those are what keep you going. Even if things get a little tight financially and you're really struggling because we've got to keep reinventing ourselves and recreating things and updating things and better platforms and all the things. Like that's what you have to do to have a successful business. And so you're pouring in, and is what is making it all worth it. And we just want you to know.
And we really embrace the emails, the messages. It fills our cup. It makes this journey worth it when we are at a point of, is this really what we should be doing? It's the people that come to us and are transparent about their pain and thinking that they're not alone and they're not crazy. And I think that's why our tagline was the way it worked. You are not alone, you are not crazy, and you are deeply loved. Because when you are in those seasons, that's exactly how you feel.
Yeah.
And it's just nice to know that there is a community, and it's just as nice to know that it could be a Christian community.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. But we'll see you guys soon, and we'll keep in touch, and we love you guys very much.
We sure do.